I've knew a fairly old family. First, there's me, too tall, too skinny, too orange. My mom was lovely, but not like the moms. Solid about something rectangular, busy, and sentimental. Her fashion icon was the queen. Dad, well, he was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After teaching university on his first day, he was eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win at table tennis. And there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. He was tricky. There was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Table tennis. And then was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed. He was always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably, always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. Impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent day. He spent day. He spent the days. Just. He spent the days. He spent the days. Always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. And then was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed. He just spent this. Always impeccably dressed. He spent well. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He's just in the always impeccably dressed. He just been does always spend this. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days. He spent the days. He spent the days. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. Impeccably가 뭐야? Impeccably dressed. 흠잡을 데 없는. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He just spent it just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He just spent. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just Well, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days well. Always impeccably dressed. He was always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably, impeccably. Impeccably. Always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He's always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Just he spent the day. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just he spent the days. I spent the days exercise. Always impeccably. Always impeccably dressed. He spent always spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He was under the just good. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just 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 well, being Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed. He's just the days just always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just 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 well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just well. Impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent just okay. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. He spent the days just. He spent the days. Just, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days. He spent the days just. Always teaching university. He was eternally available for legendary chat. Oh, I mean. always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. He spent the days. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He's just the days just, yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, yeah. Always spent the days. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Spend the days just. He spent the days just. Yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Well. Always impeccably dressed. Days just. Yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Well. Always impeccably. Always impeccably dressed. He spent it just, well, well, all spent the days, well, always impeccably dressed. Spent the days just, always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably days. 집중해 집중. 집중 들어왔어. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably. Always impeccably dressed. 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 He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Oh well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just. Yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just. Yeah. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days. He spent the days just. Always impeccably spent the days just. He was always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, good. And then was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. But Uncle Desmond always. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Because yes, he spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. There was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. He was, he going on. And there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed, always impeccably dressed. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Let me table tennis. Brother, Uncle Desmond, always seems to.
After giving up teaching university on his 50th birthday, eternally.
Let me table tennis. And then was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed, spent the day just well. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed, spent the days as well. Desmond. His brother, Uncle Desmond. And was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. And was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. There was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always being, well. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. And there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, he was. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always doing this. Brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. And there was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Being Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Just. And it was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. It was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. And then was Mom's brother, always simply. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. And then was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, he was. Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, Desmond, being Uncle Desmond. There was Mom's brother, and then there was Mom's brother, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. And then was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Rectangular, busy, and sentimental, her fashion icon was the Kim. That, well, he was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university soon on his 51st day, he was eternally available to leisurely chat or to let me in of table tennis. And then was Mom's brother, Uncle Raymond. He always 아니라고. 그냥 always라고. always. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. He was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university student on his 51st day, he was eternally available to leisurely chat or to let me win a table tennis. And then there was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. He was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university student on his 51st day, he was eternally available. He wasn't there. He's eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win a table tennis. And then there was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Oh yeah. He was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university soon on his 51st day, after eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win a table tennis. And then there was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. He was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university student on his 51st day, he is eternally available for leisurely chat or to table tennis. And then there was Mom's brother, Uncle Desmond, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days, always impeccably dressed, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days, always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. Always impeccably dressed. He spent the days just. always impeccably dressed. He spent the day just he spent the day. Well, he was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university soon, on his 50th birthday, he is eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win at table tennis. And then there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed, he spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. 오예. 처음부터 끝까지 가야지. I always knew we were family. First, there's me. Too tall, too skinny, too orange. My mom was lovely, but not like other moms. There was something solid about her, something rectangular, busy, and sentimental. Her fashion icon was the king. Dad, well, he was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university on his 51st day, he was eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win at table tennis. And there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always in Packers dress, he spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. I always knew we were a family of family. First, there's me. Too tall, too skinny, too orange. My mom was lovely, but not like other moms. There was something solid about her, something rectangular, busy, and sentimental. Her fashion icon was the queen. Dad, well, he was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university soon, on his 50th birthday, he was eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win at table tennis. And there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed, he spent the day just, well, being Uncle Desmond. 대박. I always knew you were a family of family. First, there's me. Too tall, too skinny, too orange. My mom was lovely, but not like other moms. Still lit about her, something rectangular, busy, and sentimental. Her fashion icon was the queen. And, well, he was more normal. He always seemed to have time on his hand. After giving up teaching university student on his 50th birthday, he was eternally available for leisurely chat or to let me win at table tennis. And then there was mom's brother, Uncle Desmond. Always impeccably dressed, he spent the days just, well, being Uncle Desmond. Bravo! Next one. He was the he was the most charming. He was the most charming. Charming. And Lisk. Clever.